October 23rd, 2020, writing. The following slide will contain a writing prompt. After reading the prompt, you must solve it and respond with a written mathematical explanation of how you solved the problem using 2 vocabulary words. All right, so when we go to our next slide, our prompt is over here. It says, solve for the product of 2 8/10 and 1 4/10. Then explain in words how you solved the problem using at least 2 vocabulary words. All right, so first we're going to solve it on this side. As you can see my little Bitmoji saying we need to solve it. Then we'll explain it after. We'll have our mathematical reasoning on the right. All right, so let's see. So if we have 2 8/10 and 1 4/10. Now, do we have to line up our decimals when we're multiplying or dividing? No, only for adding and subtracting. So what we're going to do, we are going to line them up to the right, so where they can line up. So 2 8/10. We are also going to ignore the decimal point of where it's placed. In this case, they do end up lining up, but that will not always be the case. You do not have to line them up when you are multiplying. It'll make your life a lot easier. All right, so we have 2 8/10 and 1 4/10. We are going to ignore those decimal points for right now, and we are going to solve for the product. But the product means, what are we going to do? Well, the product means we're going to multiply. So we're going to multiply these two numbers. All right, so when we start multiplying, 4 times 8, or 8 times 4, is going to be 32. We are going to carry that 3, drop that 2. 4 times 2, so 4 times 2 is 8, plus that 3 is going to be 11. So I'm going to put 11. We're going to ignore the decimal points until the end. Now, we are done with multiplying this 4, so we are going to cross this 4 out, so we know we're done with that, and we are going to put our placeholder 0 underneath that 2. So we're going to put a placeholder 0 under it. I am going to cross this out because we are done with that remainder. So we're going to ignore that. We're done with that. And then we are going to take a look at this 1. So we're moving over to the next digit. That means we put our placeholder 0. So now we have 1 times 8. I am actually going to move this over a little bit. There we go. All right, so now we have 1 times 8, which is going to equal 8. 1 times 2 is going to be 2. We already used that remainder, so we don't need to pay attention to that. Now, what do we do with these 2 products that we found? Well, we're going to add them. We're going to add them up. All right, so now we're going to add, beginning in our 1's digit, or 1's place. So 2 plus 0 is 2. 1 plus 8 is 9. 1 plus 2 is 3. Now, is my answer 392? No, and one way that we can kind of check this is, all right, 2 8/10 is about 3, and then 1 4/10 is about 1.5, maybe a little closer to 1. So it's not going to be 300 something, right? So it's going to be about 3 times 1.5. So maybe about 3.5, somewhere around there, or almost around 3. So around 3. So what do we need to do? What did we not do yet? Well, we need to figure out this decimal point. So we need to figure out how many swoops over it goes. So I'm actually going to do a scribble. So how many decimal points, or how many place values am I moving over? So I'm going, there we go. So I'm going to see, okay, we go over 1, and then we go over another 1. So that's 2 total that we go over. So we are going to take our decimal point, and we are going to go over 1, 2 total. So now we have 3 and 92 hundredths. So we are going to swoop that decimal in 2 places. Now what we have is our answer, or our product of 3 and 92 hundredths. So that's going to be our answer, or our product. Now, what we have to do with this is write how we did that. Easy peasy, we can do this. So first thing we did, we lined up our numbers to the right. So we just lined them up with ignoring that decimal point position. So first, line up your numbers to the right, ignoring the decimal points positions. So we're ignoring the decimal points. We're just putting all of our numbers, scooting them over to the right as far as we can. Next, well, after we did that, we're just going to start to multiply. So next, multiply the digits in the ones place. Whoop. We're going to multiply that digits in the ones place, of course, as we're ignoring our decimals. So the digit in the ones place when ignoring the decimal points to each of your top numbers, so the numbers on top, regrouping as needed. So we did have to regroup up there. Then, well, after we multiplied through this 4, we put a placeholder 0 under that 2. So then, put a placeholder 0 below the ones place of the products you just found. So we put our placeholder 0 there. After, multiply the 1 in 1 4/10 through each of the numbers on top. And add your 2 products. Finally, we are going to, well, what we did was we counted, so finally count the number of digits behind the decimal points in the original problem and move the decimal point that many digits to the left in your final answer to get the value of 3 92/100. All right, now we have to double check that we have at least 2 vocabulary words. So I know that product is a vocabulary word. Here's that product again, but that's only 1 word. And then let's see. Ooh, I know value is one of our vocabulary words, so I'll put that in a different color so we know there's 2 different words there. And indeed, we have finished our writing. Congratulations!